My name is Kylie, and I've chosen to do this Pachacucha on the landmark case Oliver Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka. This case set the standard for desegregation in America during the Civil Rights Movement for equal education for all races. A key player in the case was a young Linda Carroll Brown. Born in February of 1943, she was 11 years old when this case for desegregation began. Linda and several other children instigated immense change across the South and the East Coast. Linda's father, Oliver Brown, was encouraged to join the lawsuit by a childhood friend experiencing the same issues with his own child. Oliver will later be known as an American civil rights activist. The Browns. The case began in Topeka, Kansas in 1951 when the public school district of Topeka refused to enroll Linda Brown in the elementary school closest to her house. She would have to ride a bus to school rather than walk to school. The Browns and 12 other local black families facing similar situations decided to file a class action lawsuit in U.S. federal court against the Topeka Board of Education, saying its segregation law is unconstitutional. The U.S. District Court of Kansas decided against the Browns, saying that the precedent of the Supreme Court's 1896 decision in Plessy v. Ferguson overrode their ruling. Plessy v. Ferguson said that racial segregation was not a violation of the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause if the schools were separate but equal. During the segregation era, it was common for black schools to have fewer resources and poorer facilities than white schools, despite the equality required by the separate but equal doctrine. Some of the school districts involved in the Brown lawsuit had made improvements to their black schools to equalize them with white schools. This kept the court from finding a violation of the Equal Protection Clause. After negative ruling, the Browns appealed to the Supreme Court and were now being represented by Chief Counsel Thurgood Marshall of the NAACP. The justices in support of desegregation put a lot of effort into convincing those who dissented into joining in a unanimous opinion. Legally, the outcome would be the same with a majority ruling rather than unanimous decision, but the justices thought that dissent could be used by segregation supporters as a counter-argument later on. On May 17, 1954, the Supreme Court issued a unanimous 9-1 decision in favor of the Brown family and the other families. The decision consisted of a single opinion written by Chief Justice Earl Warren. The aftermath of this landmark desegregation case has been felt years after its conclusion. The shift this change made was received all across the nation. Although most Americans were very happy regarding the court's decision in Brown v. Board, white Southerners hated it. Many Southern white Americans viewed Brown versus Board as a day of catastrophe. In the Deep South, Texas Attorney General Ben Shepherd organized a campaign to generate legal obstacles to implementation of desegregation. In 1957, Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus called in the National Guard to block black students' entry to Little Rock Central High School. President Dwight Eisenhower responded by deploying elements of the 101st Airborne Division from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, federalizing the state's National Guard. In Mississippi, fear of violence prevented most people from bringing a school desegregation suit for the first 9 years after the Brown ruling. When Medgar Evers sued to desegregate Jackson, Mississippi schools in 1963, a white Citizens Council member murdered him. Soon after the district court decision, the political climate changed in Topeka. The Board of Education began to end segregation in the Topeka elementary schools in 1953. In the North, officials were in denial of their own segregation, but Brown helped stimulate activism among African American parents like May Mallory, who initiated a successful lawsuit against the state of New York on Brown's principles.